all the bills that we pass to do background checks, to promote gun safety will be useless until we pass this bill.
A rallying cry from gun safety advocates in Annapolis to ban ghost guns here in Maryland, while legislators say they're confident the bill will pass this General Assembly session. Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Newton, and welcome to this edition of 11 TV Hill. Arms without a trace, the rise of ghost guns and efforts to regulate them is our cover story today, and TV Hill contributor Tommy Clark will join us shortly with that. First, though, we cannot ignore the week that was here in Baltimore, perhaps one of our darkest. Violence and tragedy ruled the headlines, leaving us all a bit numb. An early morning call, nothing unusual for the Baltimore Fire Department. They'd been here before, literally, the exact same row home aglow by flames, but it did not take long to understand this would be different. Among the embers and smoke, 4 firefighters trapped, and the fight against flames quickly became a fight for life. John McMaster would make it alive. After days recovering in shock trauma, by week's end, he made it home. But for Lieutenant Paul Buttram, firefighter Kelsey Sadler, and firefighter Kenny Lacayo, it would be their final call.
It's a tragic loss for all of us, because we're a family. And, we lost a lot of family yesterday.
As if that was not enough loss for one city to take, a vigil would mark what appears to be death without reason in Fells Point. The man behind the smile, that's Chesley Patterson, and the restaurant he managed, Little Italy's La Scala, would serve as the site of his memorial.
Everybody loved him, and he wanted everybody to love him because he was a good person. We're so blessed to meet a person like that in our lifetime.
Just days earlier, he was shot and killed after leaving La Scala, the motive unknown. The same for James Blue III, killed in front of his job site. He worked to renovate a home in Northeast Baltimore as his assailants tore down all that he had worked for in a hail of bullets. He would die with a neighbor at his side.
If it was me, I'd want to hear a voice. So I kept asking him, "Can you hear me?" And people were yelling not to touch him, and I shouldn't have listened. I should have grabbed his hand and said, "Brother, I'm with you." And I stood with him and just kept saying, "We're here, I'm here, we're here."
It continued this week. A DoorDash driver and mom, a man whose car was broken down, 9 people shot and killed in less than 7 days. Grim numbers early in a new year. 32 people have been killed in Baltimore. 51 have been shot but survived. This is as of Thursday, both ahead of last year's numbers.
This is about people's lives being lost, and I'm pissed off about it. But what we have to understand is that we have to have self-accountability and community accountability as well.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for the time. I wish we were here talking about better news, but this just seemed like a week that wouldn't end, huh?
No, it's a tough week for the city, Jason. We have a lot going on, but we know Baltimore is resilient, that we're strong. I'm going to remain strong for my city and my residents.
Let's start with the fire and tell me any updates that you may have there. I know a lot of people have put a lot of focus now as we get prepared to lay the firefighters to rest, are focused on vacant buildings. So I guess first, let's start with the fire department as a whole and how things are going there.
Yeah, I think the most important thing, Jason, to start by saying again, we lost 3 of the best and bravest among us on Monday. And my heart really goes out to their entire families, all of their families, and to the city of Baltimore. The department is strong and resilient. We know that they're going to be hurting. We have to have the residents and everyone that loves Baltimore be with them and lift them up through this tough time. And we know that vacant homes prevent a fire risk in addition to the other issues, Jason. However, vacant doesn't mean that these buildings are unoccupied. And I want everyone to know that that's why our firefighters went into that building. And as you know, as someone that knows that neighborhood very well, the house next door wasn't a vacant property. And what those heroes did is go in and prevent what can very easily happen in a small block like that from an entire block. And you can imagine what the devastation and loss could have been. No, I know I could say to you that, Baltimore has had a vacant home problem longer than you and I have been alive. But now what it's about for me is making sure that through ensuring clean and healthy communities, that we really develop a plan to address these vacancies in a more rapid way. I've instructed the Department of Housing and Community Development to conduct a 30-day review of their processes and practices to see how we can better address these issues and accelerate receivership, and anything that we can do to deal with vacant properties.
And to be clear to the people who are going to say, well, listen, nobody's living there and it's just squatters in there. Why can't we just go ahead and knock it down? It's just not that easy from what it sounds.
No, it's not. It's not that easy when one is owned by someone else. They're right. It's a private company. There are, this is America. People have rights, right? We go through, for example, this property that we're talking about had been inspected by the housing department earlier this month. It was found to be clean and boarded, right? There is a lengthy process when we're going through these things to make sure that they can get into receivership, but it's not as simple as just saying go and knock them down, let alone the financial and all the other things that come with just demolition. We have seen neighborhoods be revitalized and taken vacant, and we're going to be looking to help folks, further help folks who are doing that. This is not something that started overnight. It won't be solved overnight, but what we're going to do is start to really expedite that and really kick the flame into full gear of how we can deal with this issue.
Yeah, talk to me a little bit about crime right now. And I think that's the only time when I see you in public visibly moved and upset. And at least 3 times this week, I've heard you say you're pissed off, and I get it. And I guess my question is, yes, I'm sure the loss of life is number one, but what comes next that angers you about what we're seeing in our city, especially for folks who look like they're just minding their business on the surface here?
Yeah, a lot of it. I continue to be frustrated and pissed off, and that's a nice way of saying it. One is heartbreaking, right? It's heartbreaking to be the one to have to talk to mothers and fathers and grandfathers and kids who have lost, loved ones to violence. It's also extremely frustrating, Jason, because of the senselessness and really the stupidity on some of it. Since the 70s and 80s, Baltimore's had this violence problem. It's deep and very systematic and cultural. It's rooted into our city. We have to root it out. We didn't get here overnight. There's no light to just switch, right? There's no switch. And we know what won't get us here, right? We know that stop and frisk won't solve it because we did that and we still have the issue. And we know that we're going to have to build on the stuff that we have in this comprehensive violence plan. But for me, I want folks to hear this and hear this clearly. This is when you hear some folks say, well, it's a 4 and 5 year plan. What about today? It's an everyday plan to be where you're going to be in 5 years. It's an action of each and every single agency. Through January 1st through the 26th of this month, Jason, the police department had already made 92 gun arrests and seized 173 guns in just the first 26 days of the year. Our Safe Streets Violence Interrupters had already mediated 59 conflicts that we know would have ended up in violence. And I want folks to understand how important that is to know, because folks are working, but we also need us as a community to step up. People are harboring these folks. We have to step up and say enough. That's what I meant when I said people had to get off their butts, right? People have to get off their butts and say, like, this is my city too. I care too. I can't just wait for the police commissioner or this detective or the mayor or the U.S. attorney or the state's attorney or the governor. I have to do my part as well. And now we know that this $50 million investment into public safety that we're doing with OFFER, which is going to help us grow community violence interruption programs like Safe Streets and We Are Us from 10 to 30. That's the kind of stuff that we have to do, working through the issues of the system. That's why I restarted the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, so that we're not arresting people that, hey, have an ankle monitor on, or to find them dead with an ankle monitor on. Working with our state partners, banning ghost guns, Jason, something that we know is a big issue, because no one should be able to order parts and make a gun at home and take it out on the streets of Baltimore. And we're not just implementing these comprehensive structural changes. It's also about fighting crime each and every day. And I want the residents of Baltimore to know this is what I do all day long. And it's about us all being together and understanding that this issue was never going to be solved overnight, but we all have to get to a point where we're not accepting it, but also don't revert back to the ways of the past.
When it comes to people speaking out, and I think we both know what part of the issue is with some folks, they feel like they could be retaliated against. Speak to them and how they can help.
We had a 6% increase in clearing homicides and both shootings last year. That does not happen without the community feeling like they can come forward, right? And I want more people to do that. And there are things in place. I understand the fear, but I want folks to know that we have things to help. We have to get around that understandable fear to say that we have to be all each other as family and do for what these families are going through to what you would want them to do for your family.
Mr. Mayor, it's always good to see you, sir. I appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take care.